Thank you. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. Your Excellency Tan Sri Muhyiddin Mohamed Yassin, Prime Minister of Malaysia, Excellencies, Digital Ministers of the ASEAN Member States, the ASEAN Secretary General, Dato' Lim Jock Hoi, Your Excellencies, the High Commissioners, Ambassadors of the ASEAN Member States, and representative of dialogue partners to Kuala Lumpur, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed privileged and honored to welcome you as host to the first ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting, ADG Min 1. We have been meeting annually for the last 20 years, and I must say that the timing for the rename from ASEAN Telmin, or the ASEAN Telecommunication and Information Technology Ministers Meeting, to ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting, ADG Min, is very apt, as this is indeed the first time we are meeting digitally, literally. Whether digitally or in person, of course, I wish I can welcome all of you in person, but on behalf of Malaysia and Malaysians, I would like, and I'm very, very delighted to welcome all of you to Kuala Lumpur again. I would like to thank and congratulate our officers and the ASEAN Secretariat who have worked tirelessly, not just over the last 2 days of ADG SOM, but over months in the build-up to this day, and especially for the joint effort in producing the ASEAN's Digital Master Plan 2025, which is a collaborative plan that will see our region through the next 5 years of digital development as we find our footing in promoting economic recovery and transitioning to a new normal. Today, we are faced with trying times, but also stand before a great opportunity. In all of our countries, COVID-19 has triggered the urgent need to embrace change and meet the greater demand for connectivity in all aspects of life, including education, business, as well as building and connecting communities. Today stands as a testament to how far we have come as a region over the last 10 years, having been guided by ASEAN's ICT master plans of 2015 and 2020. But there is still much to be done in our journey to becoming a truly competitive and integrated digital economic bloc, especially under these current circumstances. We are now in our first year of implementing in Malaysia what is known as the Jalinan Digital Negara, or JENDELA for short, which is a revamped national digital infrastructure plan. JENDELA in English means window, as a plan to open up greater access to the internet by upgrading Malaysia's digital communication infrastructure. It proposes to bridge the digital divide by expanding 4G mobile broadband coverage from the current 91.8% to 96.9% in populated areas, increasing mobile broadband speed from 25 megabytes per second to 35 megabytes per second, and enabling as many as 7.5 million premises to have access to gigabyte speed fixed line broadband. The government has also taken steps to converge all science, technology, and digital-related government bodies and private sector players under one roof. The National Digital Economy and 4IR Council, as it is called, will oversee digital skills, jobs, businesses, investment, infrastructure, emerging technology, government and community digital adoption, as well as data and cybersecurity. And this council is chaired by His Excellency Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, the Prime Minister himself. In fact, our Prime Minister is about to launch Malaysia's Digital Master Plan. So on behalf of Malaysia, we warmly welcome your collective effort, deliberations, and input including that of our dialogue partners, in coming together to foster closer cooperation and networking as we endeavor to build an inclusive, sustainable, and accessible digital ecosystem. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we strive towards this digital ecosystem, excuse me, it is also important to remind ourselves that we bear the responsibility and the right to ensure the overall security of important data and personal information. The increased complexity of modern networking and technological trends, such as big data, the Internet of Things, and cloud computing, while huge enablers in their own right, have also dissolved traditional boundaries of the network. Cyber threats are constantly evolving, with threats and attacks becoming more frequent and sophisticated globally, and with more and more severe consequences each time. Malaysia has not been spared the experience of having to face multiple concerted attacks on government networks and financial sectors. As a response, Malaysia recently launched the Malaysia Cybersecurity Strategy 2020-2024, designed with tools to provide trust in the cyber environment, not only for national security, but also to support Malaysia's agenda in its digital economy, Industry 4.0, and the adoption of other disruptive technologies for Malaysia's advancement. However, the digital world remains an opaque, ever-changing and borderless environment where we still struggle to identify which subjects of law should be addressed, let alone what issues should be regulated. Thus, there is no substitute for joint consultation, engagement, cooperation, and open dialogue on mutual respect to promote online trust, norms of behavior, and best practices. Malaysia will therefore continue to actively support not just the ASEAN Data Protection and Privacy Forum, but also the implementation of initiatives under the ASEAN's Digital Data Governance Framework and development of the ASEAN Model Contractual Clauses and Certification Programs, which will be introduced to secure cross-border data flows and create a trusted ecosystem for e-commerce in the region. Combined with our shared experiences and support from governments, academic, industry, higher learning institutions, lessons learned, and an established synergetic collaboration with public and private organizations across Asia Pacific and the OIC, Cybersecurity Malaysia, an agency under the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia Malaysia, has established a local cybersecurity professional certification scheme known as the Global Accreditation Cybersecurity Education Scheme, or in short, Global ACE, which Malaysia would like to offer to ASEAN member states to validate and certify cybersecurity personnel as world-class competent workforce in cybersecurity and promote the development of professional cybersecurity programs within the region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the world has been forced to migrate to the digital world, and COVID-19 is accelerating the process. What used to be known as an informal sector is now referred to as the gig economy, a demographic that has grown exponentially over the last year. Even Makcik Kia, this is just a name to refer to an elderly lady in Malaysia. So Makcik Kia is a popular name nowadays. The lady who sells banana fritters and lives in affordable urban housing, or probably in the rural area, it doesn't matter, has digitally onboarded her banana fritters business, or nasi lemak, or roti canai, or tom yum. Yeah. In Brunei, Datuk Amboyat. Yeah. And here we are today exchanging views across oceans through a camera lens. ASEAN is 600 million strong, or maybe 650 million strong, and one of the fastest growing internet markets in the world. With a fluent digital ecosystem, this figure can seamlessly include our collective diaspora. And imagine the number of ASEAN diaspora throughout the globe, yeah, from the west to the east, from the north to the south. As I have said, we stand before a great opportunity, the opportunity to unleash the capacity of our citizens to capitalize on all the opportunities a borderless digital ecosystem has to offer. If we get this right, ASEAN stands to be an even greater force to be reckoned with. We are fortunate that while we work towards keeping ASEAN digitally connected as a region, we have with us our dialogue partners to see that ASEAN stays digitally connected to the rest of the globe. We have much to learn and look forward to strengthening our digital bridges in the course of our discussions here at the first ADG Min. In the spirit of multilateralism, may the next 2 days see fruitful collaboration, cooperation, capacity building, and sharing among us, sharing of knowledge, information, best practices, and experiences in capitalizing on these opportunities for the prosperity of us all. Last but not least, to the generation that feels most detached from the digital world, those of us who were born before the age of the device, we were born with typewriters. Our daughters and sons are born with tabs and laptops and all the modern devices. To all of us, ASEAN remains inclusive, and we will try our level best in the ASEAN spirit to ensure that ASEAN Community 2025, as enshrined in all of the conventions and deliberations at various past ASEAN leaders summits and so on, will be realized, and to ensure that we are inclusive and no one will be left behind. Thank you and terima kasih.
Good morning from Laos. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, excuse and on behalf of the Minister of Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications of Laos, I wish to convey my sincere gratitude to the government of Malaysia for hosting the first ASEAN at ADG Min and related meeting virtually. This year, Malaysia has come up with the theme ASEAN, a digitally connected community. It's right timing for us and through us to work closely together and join and for collaboration to ensure our community digital connected to support our ecosystem in the COVID-19. Together, unprecedented circumstance, we face these two. COVID-19 year 2020 marks a very good last milestone we have together for this cycle. Our success together has also been written in AAM 2020 review that Laos had the opportunity to lead the project. Therefore, I would like to express sincere appreciation to our ADG Min leaders, ADG SOM, and on your team members, ASEAN secretaries, as well as AICT Center for your kind support to Lao PDR for the past 14 months that the chairmanship role from the 19th Thelmin in Vientiane in 2019. I hope you all continue to support and good cooperation with MPT, Lao PDR beyond our chairmanship. Whilst digital transformation had been high on the ASEAN agenda, the COVID-19 pandemic has further accelerated digital technology adoption in all aspects of life and will play an even greater role for our society and economy during and post-recovery. We are pleased that during the pandemic, our sector has been the key driver and facilitator for cross-sectoral body and society to carry on their works as well as contributed to our societies in handling with the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout our chairmanship for 2020, it's our honor to witness that many good progress in important agendas. We have made the name a few includes digital data governance frameworks, 5G ASEAN development, and the very first ASEAN Cybersecurity Coordinating Committee meeting as well as other successfully completed activities under ADG SOM and ATRC work plan that will support on digital economy. Since we come to the end of the implementation of our ICT Master Plan or AIM 2020, we are looking forward for the implementation of ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025 or ADM 2025, which the drafting was led by Malaysia. I trust that the past 5 years, we have made quite an achievement and great foundation to propel ASEAN towards a digitally connected community. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, I would like to thank all MPT staffs who have dedicated their time to work with me throughout this chairmanship year. And I now state my farewell remark as a DGMIN chair and handing the chairmanship to my colleague, His Excellency Mr. Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah. The next DGMIN chair from Malaysia, and Mr. Vice Chair Tan Sin Muang from Myanmar. Thank you, DGMIN leaders and ASEAN colleagues, for your contribution to make this year another successful year together. And since it's still New Year, may I wish everyone a Happy New Year 2021. Thank you very much, and I wish this meeting a great success. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable ASEAN Secretary Lim Jok Hoi, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah that we are able to gather today for this first meeting of ASEAN, which has to be held virtually when this region are still furiously battling the COVID-19 pandemic. Malaysia highly values it has been accorded to chair this maiden meeting, which carries the theme ASEAN, a digitally connected community. If I may recall, the first ASEAN Telecommunications and Information Technology Ministers or ASEAN meeting, now renamed as ADG Min Lumpur, way in July 2001. That meeting was physical in nature, with all visiting delegates getting to experience the sights and sounds of Malaysia and the hospitality of Malaysians. This virtual meeting we're having today. Nevertheless, the fact that we are able to meet in a virtual environment, given the COVID-19 pandemic, demonstrates the progress ASEAN is making digitally connected. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN undoubtedly has seen progress in the digital environment. The level of advancement may differ from one member state to another, as well as between areas. As you may all be aware, the ASEAN Economic Community Blueprint 2020 AEC-2025 recognizes information and communication technology, ICT, as the key driver in economic and social transformation. It states that AEC-2025 will aspire to ASEAN digitally enabled economy that is secure, sustainable, and transformative, and to further leverage the ICT for an innovative, inclusive, and ASEAN. I wish to dwell on AEC-2025 here. Bear in mind the outlined strategic measures with the emphasis on the importance of centralization and unity in the efforts to develop the ASEAN community in the areas of cybersecurity, personal data protection, 5G, and promoting innovations in e-commerce. Excellency, it may not be an overstatement, I believe, to say that the COVID-19 pandemic has given the ASEAN member states the unanticipated nudge faster down the digital road. I can say for sure that the pandemic has accelerated the growth of the economy in Malaysia. Things have changed drastically on a daily and sometimes on an hourly basis. The Malaysian government has adopted the digital economy as one of the key economic growth achieve our national commitment of elevating the country to a nation of sustainable growth while ensuring fair and equitable distribution of income groups, ethnicities, and forward promise of shared by focusing on empowering Malaysians skills, enabling digitally powered businesses, and driving digital. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I understand that Malaysia has been given the honor to coordinate the development of the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025, or the ADM 2, that will be launched in Min1. ADM 2025 aims to guide the development of the digital sector and incorporates information sectors, creates a fair and competitive digital marketplace, builds a digital environment, creates intelligent, realizes ASEAN inclusive, sustainable, and accessible digital ecosystem, and eventually creates ASEAN digital economy bloc. The ADM 2025 continues to build on the efforts of the previous two master plans, the ASEAN ICT Master Plan of 2015 and 2020, but reflects the changing landscape and pervasiveness of ICTs, whereby digitalization now cuts across multiple sectors of the economy, impacting the way we work, live, and play. I'm confident that ADG Min1 will be able to strengthen the cooperation among ASEAN countries, developing a digital ecosystem as the backbone in its post-COVID-19 development plan. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as a region has continuously discussed and expressed our support to the sets of international rules, norms, and principles of responsible behavior of states in cyberspace. We are the first region that has expressed agreement in principle to the 11 voluntary non-binding norms recommended in the 15 United Nations Group of Governmental Experts, or GGE report. And this statement demonstrates in moving forward the issues of rules, norms, and principles of responsible behavior of cyberspace, as well as for regional capacity building in implementing these norms. Perhaps we could initiate effective cooperation to build upon what we have set in motion and explore in our endeavors of ensuring a safe and secure cyberspace. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN member legislation on data privacy and users' rights that can be any digital entity region could be required to assume greater accountability, allowing them to be sued as long as they have control over their products. ASEAN could also consider stronger legislations pertaining to hate speech that among us digital platforms and mete out punishment for any speech willfully promoting violence, be it physical, including but not limited to harassment and threats against a person or person based on their race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, disability, or nationality. I believe there are areas under the present laws which need to be reviewed to accommodate new technologies, especially in the parameters of security in cyberspace. Technology has evolved at a rapid pace, and so does the emergence of new cyber threats and new challenges. Consequently, there must be a mechanism to enable the existing laws to be applied in cyberspace and new laws to be if the need arises. Malaysia also has the cross-border nature and the challenges in bringing cyber criminals to justice, as this requires a coordinated and integrated regional approach. We must be mindful threats are rapidly changing and encroaching spheres of our lives, including how we communicate, how we conduct online, how we carry out purchases, and even how we defend our national security. They have also become more sophisticated, complicated, and transboundary in nature. In this regard, ASEAN member states no longer operate and work in isolation. I wish to emphasize that Malaysia is committed to efficiency and connectivity for people across the region. Such is moving towards these security objectives with a comprehensive plan and strategy, a secure, trusted, and resilient cyberspace, while at the same time fostering economic prosperity for the well-being of all ASEAN members. Malaysia is ever willing to share our expertise and experiences with our ASEAN member states. Now, besides these initiatives, consider setting as a means of improving digital and internet infrastructure among member states. We could also come up with an online platform to connect small and medium-sized businesses and artisans across the region, selling original goods directly to consumers, thus easing transactions. A board of trustees with members appointed from ASEAN countries could determine the company that will be set up and run the platform. And as a region, ASEAN is now for cooperation. We, people of Southeast Asia, have traded and worked with China and Japan as well as the United States of America. These are the world's biggest economies, so the most developed and sophisticated in the digital era. There may be differences and tensions across the Pacific between the United States and China, but we're happy to work with and stand to gain from each of these partner countries, while we hope that they can. We should also cooperate more with them. Promote digital engagements and encourage from Japan and South Korea. And the best digital advances now in Northeast Asia can be writ large for the larger East Asia. And by working with our key ASEAN dialogue partners in North America, we can expand global digital best practices. We leverage strategically on these facets of ASEAN to provide the best possible opportunities for our people, in particular for our future and our generation. ASEAN member states may not be among the world's most developed nations, at least not in the old development context. However, technology now offers the prospects of leapfrogging in development through a new digital context. To succeed, we need to be finely attuned to the movements and the industry by acknowledging the challenges and the realities and making the best of them to fashion we want. We're not lacking in terms of human resources so vital to the task. Our people can be trained in institutions in the world, as some have already been. Right now is staying ahead of the curve in two principal areas: fighting cybercrime and advancing digital economy. Now, these two concerns turn out to be the same thing. Our national enforcement must be equipped with state-of-the-art tools to fight cybercrimes, such as in digital. They must also be fully integrated region-wide to be really effective against cross-border transgressions. There can be no acceptable reason for falling short. Member states should have more resources and determination criminal syndicates. ASEAN authorities should also be fully and constantly engaged with the United Nations and other multilateral institutions. Productive synergies must be developed from working and protocols. Economic development has always been a core priority for ASEAN, and the ravaging COVID-19 has made it even more so. The digital economy is uniquely placed to boost our economies structurally and sustainably. We know the choices we have to make. Let us make them together to streamline our efforts, optimize our performances, and maximize our potentials in the ASEAN spirit for all relevant stakeholders. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to congratulate and thank the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia Malaysia for its role in organizing this meeting and coordinating the event. I would also like to record all fellow ASEAN member states for placing the trust in Malaysia to host this first ADG 1 meeting. On that note, I wish you fruitful discussions and meaningful interaction over the course of this meeting. Thank you.
Welcome to the first ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting, ADG Min 1 via teleconference, with the theme, ASEAN, a digitally connected community.
The first ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting, ADG Min 1, seeks to strengthen cooperation among ASEAN member states towards building digital ecosystems as a pillar in the post-COVID-19 development plan. This is our united effort to develop the ASEAN community in the areas of cybersecurity, personal data protection, 5G, promoting innovations, and e-commerce.
Held from January 21st to January 22nd in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. ASEAN, a digitally connected community. The ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025. It is our great pleasure and honor to welcome all ASEAN delegates to the first ASEAN Digital Ministers Meeting, ADG Min 1.